What's up, Facebook? It's your boy Trey Larkins with Wise Guys Sports. Everybody go follow Wise Guys on Twitter at Wise Guys _H. Also on Facebook, Wise Guys. And be sure to follow Wise Guys on Instagram at These Guys Know Sports. Coming on here on this Sunday night, a night before Memorial Day. Tomorrow is Memorial Day. It is Sunday, May the 25th. Here to recap the Eastern Conference Finals Game 3 as the Knicks beat the Pacers 106-100. Cat had 24 points, shot 8 of 17 from the floor, 15 rebounds. Jalen Brunson had 23 points, shot 6 of 18 from the floor for the Knicks. For the Pacers, Halliburton, 20 points, 7 assists. The Pacers still lead 2-1. So, for me, this game was wild. And every time I think I got it all figured out, the unthinkable happens when it comes to these NBA playoffs. I mean, seriously, like, I'm going back to the conference semifinals. The Boston Celtics had not one, two 20-point leads in games 1 and games 2 against these New York Knicks. And the Knicks overcame 2 20-point deficits and beat the Celtics in games 1 and games 2 in the conference semifinals. And they just did it here again, this time in the conference finals against the Indiana Pacers. A game in which the Indiana Pacers led by 20 points. They led by 20 points. At one point, the score was 55-35. Tyrese Halliburton had got loose for a dunk on a fast break opportunity for the Pacers. And I'm thinking the Knicks are on the brink here. They are on the brink. You go down 3-0, this series is officially over. And lo and behold, the New York Knicks come out and have a great second half. But even in the second half, at the beginning of the second half, the Pacers still had control of the game. I feel like one of the key pivotal moments in the game was when Aaron Nesmith rolled his ankle. It was 70-57. Pacers had the lead. They were in control of the game. And after that moment, the Knicks pretty much took control of the game. And I have to give the New York Knicks credit because I'll be the first to tell y'all that I feel like the New York Knicks have overachieved this season. I believe they have 2 players in Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns who are nice options on a championship contender. Like, I still got questions whether or not I believe you can win a championship with Jalen Brunson as your number 1. I still got questions even about Cat as to whether or not he's a consistent number 2 on a championship contender. But honestly, after tonight's performance, I ain't got nothing negative to say about Karl-Anthony Towns because Cat was the biggest reason why the Knicks overcame this 20-point deficit and beat the Pacers. Cat was balling tonight. He was balling. 20 points in the fourth quarter. 20 points in the fourth quarter for Cat. And Cat, it didn't matter who the Pacers switched on to Cat. Cat gave it to Siakam. He gave it to Turner. He gave it to Nesmith. The Indiana Pacers, defensively, they had no answers for Cat in the fourth quarter. 20 fourth quarter points for Karl-Anthony Towns. That is the highest point total for Karl-Anthony Towns in the fourth quarter of his career. Cat was balling. And this is the thing about the Knicks. The Knicks are a resilient basketball team. Do I believe the Knicks are as talented as the OKC Thunder are? No. Do I believe the Knicks are as talented as the Minnesota Timberwolves? No. Do I believe the Knicks are as talented as the Boston Celtics or even the Cleveland Cavaliers? I do not believe the Knicks are that talented of a basketball team. But the Knicks are a resilient basketball team, and they never give up. Even when they're down 20 points, it's almost as if the Knicks are looking at opposing teams thinking, we got y'all right where we want y'all. And shout out to Tom Thibodeau and the New York Knicks because they have been a resilient team all postseason long. The Knicks are the first team to have three 20-point comeback wins in a single postseason. It happened twice in the Celtics series, in the conference semifinals, and it happened again tonight in Game 3 against Indiana Pacers. I thought in the first half, the Pacers came out with a lot of energy, and in that second quarter, it got away from the Knicks. And the Pacers, they were running in transition. The Pacers had 14 fast break points in the first half. 14. And we said coming into this series, whichever team can dictate tempo on how they want to play, because we all know the Knicks want to play a slow-paced game and have Jalen Brunson bring them home in the fourth quarter, and the Indiana Pacers want to play a fast tempo game and get out in transition and have a ton of fast break points. And that's exactly what happened in the first half. In the first half, the Pacers had 14 fast break points. 14 fast break points. But they only had 2 fast break points in the second half. So let's give the Knicks credit from a defensive standpoint, because they did not allow the Pacers to get out in transition and have a lot of fast break points in the second half. You got to look at that, and I feel like that was the biggest difference in the game. First half, Pacers 14 fast break points. Second half, only 2 fast break points for the Pacers. And so for me, in order for the Knicks to have a chance to win this series, they have to make the Pacers play in the half court. And the Pacers struggled in the second half playing in the half court and not being able to play at a fast pace and get out in transition with Halliburton and Naismith and Siakam and Turner. So let's give the Knicks credit from a defensive standpoint, because defensively, they slowed the game down and they did not allow the Pacers to get out and run. And it's crazy because you look at the second half, the Pacers only scored 42 second half points. 42. The Knicks had 36 points alone in the fourth quarter. Cat had 20 of those 36 fourth quarter points by the Knicks. So I got to give the Knicks a ton of credit. A ton of credit. I thought in the first half, the Pacers, not only did they get out and run in transition, their bench also had a major impact on this game. In the first half, the Pacers outscored the Knicks in bench points by 16. The Pacers had 23 bench points in the first half. The Knicks only had 7. TJ McConnell had a tremendous first half with 10 points for the Pacers. And I thought the Pacers were out and running, and the Knicks were literally facing a 3-0 deficit in this series. I'm thinking to myself, Nat Town is rocking and rolling. The Pacers are going back to the NBA Finals, and the Knicks are about to possibly get swept in this best-of-7 series in the conference finals. And in the second half, the Knicks did a tremendous job getting back into this game. But it did not, honestly, it started really at the end of the second quarter. The Knicks ended the second quarter on a 10-3 run. They ended the third quarter on a 7-2 run, and they ended the game on an 8-2 run. And that was the biggest difference in the game. I'm watching these games all postseason long when it comes to the Knicks. I watched the entire Celtics series. I watched this Pacers-Knicks series. When you go up against the Knicks, you may get out to a double-digit lead to start the quarter or even midway through the quarter. But the Knicks do a great job at closing quarters. They do a tremendous job at closing quarters well. And you got to give Tom Thibodeau and his basketball team credit for being able to close quarters well. And that's the biggest reason why they overcame a 20-point deficit tonight. They end quarters well. They ended the second quarter, 10-3 run. Ended the third quarter on a 7-2 run. Ended the game on an 8-2 run. And tonight, the Knicks were plus 12 when Brunson was out. They were a plus 12 when Brunson was out of the game. And shout out to Tom Thibodeau, because we all know Tom Thibodeau has a short rotation. He doesn't play a lot of guys in the playoffs, and his starters play a lot of minutes. Tonight, Tibbs went deep into his bench with Josh Hart and McBride, Wright, Shamet, And I thought the Knicks bench gave them some tremendous minutes. And honestly, they helped the Knicks get back into the game towards the end of the third quarter and the beginning of the fourth quarter. Cat balled out in the fourth quarter, but the Knicks were already getting back into the game towards the end of the third quarter. And I thought they did a tremendous job with great minutes off the bench from Hart, Wright, McBride, Shamet. And that was honestly an advantage for the Pacers. The Pacers, I said coming into this series, the Pacers have the deeper bench with McConnell off the bench and other players that contribute as well. But I thought in this game, the Knicks bench outperformed the Pacers bench, especially in that second half. And I thought that it's crazy how the Knicks won this game because everything that was set up for the Pacers to win this game actually happened. Everything. The Knicks were not getting back defensively. The Pacers had 14 fast break points in the first half. Brunson and Cat were both in foul trouble throughout this game. And so I'm thinking to myself, the Knicks are in trouble. They are in trouble. And so the Pacers, they blew this game. The Knicks, I'm giving them credit for their resilience, but you can't have a great comeback without a major collapse. And I thought in the second half, the Pacers offensively got stagnant. They only scored 42 points in the second half. 42. So as great of a team the Pacers are from an offensive standpoint, their offense struggled in the second half in this game. But some of that is the Knicks defense. Some of that is definitely the Knicks defense, and we got to give the Knicks credit for overcoming a 20-point deficit when all the cards were stacked against the New York Knicks. Seriously. But, man, I thought the keys to this game were how the Knicks, from a defensive standpoint, they slowed the pace down in the second half, and they forced the Pacers to have to play in the half court. And when you force the Pacers to have to play in their half court offense, they're not as effective. And Siakam tonight, he was okay. He didn't play great. I thought he played tremendous in game two, obviously. I think Siakam had 39 points in game two. Tonight, he didn't play as effective. But again, in the first half, with the Pacers running and playing up-tempo, that was to the Pacers' advantage. In the second half, the Knicks completely slowed the game down. And again, Cat was the player of the game for me. Cat was the player of the game. And I've been critical of Karl Anthony Towns. I have been very critical of Karl Anthony Towns because I have said he settles for too many jumpers. And sometimes you want Cat to attack the rim. And to start that fourth quarter tonight, Cat was in attack mode. He was in attack mode, ladies and gentlemen. And I thought Cat was the biggest reason why the Knicks overcame a 20-point deficit and now trail only 2-1. Game 4 will be huge Tuesday night in Indianapolis because if the Knicks can even this series up, going back to New York, the Garden will be rocking in Game 5 at Madison Square Garden. So Game 4 is extremely, extremely pivotal for both teams. A swing game. But big shout out to Karl Anthony Towns tonight. Brunson, I don't feel like Brunson played great tonight. And the fact that the Knicks still won when their best player was not at his best, that's a good sign for the Knicks. That's a good sign for the Knicks. Brunson was not at his best tonight. And the Knicks still won. That's a great sign for the Knicks moving forward. But the Pacers still are in a good position. They're up 2-1. They stole 2 games on the road in New York. So they are still in the driver's seat in this series, but they have to win Game 4. If the Pacers want to win this series and punch their ticket to the NBA Finals, they have to win Game 4 in Indiana and go back to New York with a commanding 3-1 lead. But also, this game was the first game the Knicks have ever won in Gainbridge Fieldhouse in New York, in Indiana. This is the first game the Knicks have ever won. So, man, big shout out to Cat. Big shout out to the Knicks. They played tremendous in the second half, specifically in the fourth quarter with this comeback. And the Knicks are the first team to have 3 20-point comebacks in a single postseason. So the Knicks are a very, very resilient basketball team. And like I said earlier, I don't believe the Knicks are a very talented basketball team, but they are extremely, extremely mentally tough basketball team, and they are a resilient group. Tom Thibodeau and his Knicks, they do not give up in games, even when they are trailing by 20 points or more. They have 3 comebacks this postseason in which they have trailed by 20 points or more and came back and won all 3 of those games. In games 1 and games 2 against the Celtics in the conference semifinals, and here in game 3 in the conference finals against the Pacers when all the odds were stacked against the Knicks. When the Pacers went up 55-35, I was thinking this game is over and the Knicks are on the verge of being swept right out of the conference finals. And they came back in the second half and showed great resilience. And again, Thibodeau did a great job, uncharacteristically, going to his bench players in Hart, in McBride, in Wright, in Shamet, and they had major, major contributions to the Knicks winning game 3 tonight in Indiana. And now the Pacers lead this best-of-7 series, 2-1, heading into a pivotal game 4 Tuesday night in Indianapolis. But the Knicks, even though they're not as talented as other teams are, they are resilient. They are a mentally tough basketball team, and they do the little things right. That's the thing about the Knicks. They do the little things right that the opposing team that may be more talented than the Knicks don't do. The Pacers tonight in game 3 did not close quarters well. The Knicks closed quarters perfectly tonight. And to me, that's the biggest reason why the Knicks are in this position to begin with. No, the Knicks are not as talented as the Celtics. No, they're not as talented as the Cavaliers. No, they aren't as talented as the Timberwolves are, or even the Thunder. But they close quarters well, and they are a resilient basketball team that never gives up or quits. And that's the thing about these NBA playoffs. That's what with so many of these comebacks, these NBA playoffs have shown me these NBA playoff games are long. They are long. You could have where we are with today's NBA, with the 3-point shot being so important to our game, a 20-point lead is really like a 10-point lead in today's NBA. The way these players are able to hit perimeter shots, if you got a 20-point lead, it's almost like having a 10-point lead because the opposing team can hit threes to get back into the game. And if you have a few bad offensive possessions, the other team is right back in the game. And that's exactly what happened here in this game, in game 3. Towards the end of the third quarter and the beginning of the fourth quarter, the Pacers had a few bad offensive possessions. And in the fourth quarter, Cat turned into the second coming of Kareem and was balling for the New York Knicks. He was balling. I didn't know if that was Karl Anthony Towns out there or Kareem. Seriously. But big shout out to Cat. Big shout out to the Tom Thibodeau and the New York Knicks. This best-of-7 series is now Pacers 2, Knicks 1. Game 4, Tuesday night in Naptown. Don't forget, Monday, June the 2nd, the Not Boxed In podcast with myself and Cincinnati Bearcats legend Melvin Levitt at Park Place, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Park Place, the Not Boxed In podcast with myself and Melvin Levitt, discussing all the latest in sports news. And go and follow on Impact Recruiting Services and Wise Guys Sports on all social media platforms. Y'all enjoy y'all Memorial Day tomorrow. I will be back on tomorrow night recapping the matchup in Game 4 in the Western Conference Finals between Oklahoma City and Minnesota. I'm Trey Larkins from Wise Guy Sports signing off. Peace.